Thank you, councillors, thank you, staff, and thank you, members of the public, for showing up today. Thank you for those who are joining us here, and there are many joining, or there may well be many joining online as well. This meeting is live streamed, and I do declare it open at 5:30, and we will be convening this meeting under the standing orders under the Local Government Act. In opening the meeting, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Noongar Wadandi people, and pay my respects to the continuing connections to the land, waters and community. We respect all elders and of the Aboriginal community and their culture, and elders past, present and emerging. And for any elders who are with us presently or online, thank you for joining us. There are no announcements from myself. We currently have Councillor Steck, who is on approved leave of absence, and that is all. Are there any declarations of interest, councillors? We have Councillor Andrew as a declaration of interest on 10.4.1. Any other declaration of interest for tonight's meeting? Thank you. We have received 3 notices for public question time. Dr. Anderson, Jane Anderson is first. Jane, as per usual, you're familiar with the rules. You can come to the podium and ask your question.
Thank you, Mr Mayor and councillors. Given there is a significant and increasing interest in the petition for a homeless shelter, what has the City of Bunbury done and plans to do with regards advocating for a shelter with the WA State Government? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. I will refer to the CEO for an answer. Thank you. Take a seat.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Dr. Anderson, for the question. The City continues to work on behalf of the community through supporting relevant agencies to the best of its ability by providing support and collaborating with the relevant service providers and organisations, such as those involved in the Housing First strategy, with the State Government as the lead. Reducing the number of people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness is a priority for the State Government, guided by the All Paths Lead to a Home, Western Australia's 10-year strategy on homelessness 2020 to 2030. Also, and Dr. Anderson would be aware of this, refer you to the information contained in the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held 15th of October and the responses provided in the minutes of the annual general meeting of electors held the 17th of December, which outlines all of the work that the city has been doing in this space. As we discussed at that electors meeting, our staff, the city staff, continue to work hard in this space, and all of that's detailed in the in those minutes that I referred to.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. I will also add, obviously, the State Government's currently in caretaker mode, but at the election of any new ministerial positions, happy to continue the advocacy base should that occur. Thank you. Next we had Ingrid. Thank you, Ingrid. I haven't sent. Thank you, Ingrid. There you are. Looking very colourful.
Well, after all that, my question is very simple. Would the City of Bunbury allow the petition for a homeless shelter to be displayed in Shire buildings? Its display would, I have to take these off to be able to, would assist the city to advocate for this facility, an action for which the council voted unanimously. Having the petition placed in Shire buildings would send a strong message about this community need.
Thank you, Ingrid. I'll also ask the CEO to respond to that.
Thanks, Ingrid, for the question. The city has no official policy position on hosting petitions at city-managed facilities. However, it's general practice that the city should not be perceived to be endorsing a petition, especially considering that all petitions are addressed to the council. We consider that hosting petitions at our facilities would be inappropriate and may put staff into the uncomfortable position, given that members of the public may have questions in relation to the contents of the petition. While in this instance the contents of the petition support a previous resolution of council, a further concern is the creation of a precedent by favouring certain petitions over others, where future petitions may contradict the position of council.
Thanks, Ingrid. The petition is in my office, though, and it is displayed in my office. That's sort of a council building. Next, we have Gwen Stapleton. Gwen?
Good evening. I've got 3 questions about the same issue, so question 1 will determine, the answer to that will determine the next 2 questions.
Sure.
The first question is, does City of Bunbury still intend closing Withers Community Library in April 2025?
CEO?
Thank you, Mayor. As many people in the audience would be aware, the Council's current decision in this regard from December 2024 is that Council, 1, endorsed the partnership between City and Foodbank WA for the provision of wraparound services from the current Withers Community Library building and surrounding site. 2, endorsed the implementation of a plan that will see the Withers Community Library site transition from its current service provision format from April 2025, allowing Foodbank Bunbury to operate fully from the site as of April 2026. Request the CEO to undertake community consultation in relation to this proposal. And number 4, note that the status quo will continue in relation to the operation of the Withers Library should the proposal not proceed. So, as we're well aware, we have a petition tonight, and I think we're going to hear that petition, and there is ongoing discussions. But I think point 4, note that the status quo will continue in relation to the operation of the Withers Library should the proposal not proceed.
So can you please give me a yes or no answer? Is the library closing in April?
CEO?
So I think that will depend. Obviously, the community feedback we have heard, and the elected members will take that into consideration. There is a petition I think that Councillor Ramesh is going to discuss tonight, and then that will require me as CEO to bring a report back to Council. If all things being equal, the petition or Foodbank don't continue with their current proposal with the site, which is up to them, then the status quo will remain, or the response to the petition will be dealt with as we move through that process following the lodging of that tonight.
Okay, but just in regard to that, Foodbank have extended
So Gwen, this is public question time. Happy to be a little bit lenient. You haven't lodged this particular question, so if we may be able to answer it. If not, we obviously are having a community forum next week, which is a much more open forum, and we can speak openly, but just bearing that in mind that this isn't a debate opportunity. Are you happy to ask a third question? You can ask a third question. We may or may not be able to provide an answer.
Well, the other 2 questions are actually in relation to the first one. They're dependent on the answer to that. And Foodbank has extended their lease, so are we going to extend the library time?
CEO?
Again, Mayor, there's not much more that I can add other than the process that we're working through. We will work through the petition. We will get a report back. Foodbank may make a decision not to continue with their current proposal. So that's as clear as I can be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. Thank you. Sorry, that is public question time. Thank you. We move along to 7.11, which is the confirmation of previous minutes. Could I have somebody move that minutes? Councillor Quain, seconded by Councillor Kozisek. Likely to be any debate on those minutes, councillors? I'll put that. Those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. And the minutes of the Policy Review and Development Committee. Is somebody happy to move those minutes? Thank you, Councillor Andrew. Seconded, Councillor Kozisek. Likely to be any debate, councillors? I'll put that. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. The aforementioned petition, we have, I understand, received a petition. Yes. Councillor Ramesh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm tabling this petition on behalf of Betty McCleary and the Withers residents. I'm just going to read this verbatim so that it's easy for everyone to follow up. I, Betty McCleary of 15 Hakea Crescent, South Bunbury, in the state of Western Australia, am the promoter of this petition, which contains 1,434 signatures. Petition in relation to City of Bunbury Council, transition of services, Withers Community Library, inverted commas, closure of the library. To the Mayor of the Council of the City of Bunbury, we, the undersigned, being electors of the City of Bunbury, are opposed to the motion unanimously passed by councillors at the ordinary council meeting on the 10th of December, item 10.3.2, transition of services, Withers Community Library. Your petitioners therefore respectfully request the Council of City of Bunbury to 1. rescind the motion 10.3.2 transition of services Withers Community Library. 2, reactivate the Withers Community Library with extended opening hours, activities and programs.
Thank you, and do need a seconder to accept that petition. Thank you, Councillor Quain. So, councillors, and probably so the public are aware as well, there's no debate on this item. If this petition is accepted, it will refer back to officers. So I'll put that we received that petition. Those in favour? That's carried. So that petition has been accepted. So for those who aren't aware of, thank you, Councillor Ramesh, of that process, that's now handed to the CEO. In the standing orders, there's a 2-week or 2-round turnaround for that petition to come back to account with a council report. I've indicated to the CEO that that probably can be done in 1 round, which will be in 3 weeks' time. CEO, if it's not 3 weeks' time, it'll be in 6 weeks' time. We do have a public meeting next Tuesday, which I believe some communications are going out this afternoon around that. So next Tuesday at 5 p.m. at the Withers Library, elected members will be there and we can have a lot more of an open conversation in that part, hopefully with some more information. So we do have the rest of the meeting to continue. You are more than welcome to stay and we like to have people here, but if you have other places to go, there is no other items on this agenda dealing with the Withers Library. So I'm happy to give a few moments if people do need to leave at this stage, but you're welcome to. If not, we'll likely see you next week at 5 p.m. at the Withers Library. I will just ask, if you are planning to stay around and have a little chat, if we could just probably do that in the, just out in the grassed area, as the sound travels back from the foyer pretty quickly. Thank you. Okay, thank you, councillors. We may continue, there's a few there, but they can stay or continue to move on. Dealing with the agenda tonight, at this stage, coming out for further discussion, I have item 10.1.4. 10.1.4 because that's got 2 different recommendations there from the committee and the executive. 10.4.1 as we do have a financial interest, so Councillor Andrews has to leave the room. And for item 10.5.1, as that does require an absolute majority for item 1. Is there any other items to come out for discussion?
10.1.3, please.
10.1.3. Thank you. Any other councillors? If that's the case, is somebody happy to move the remainder are carried en bloc? Thank you, Councillor Quain. Thank you, Councillor Brent. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. We move along to item 10.1.3. Do you have a question, Councillor Turner, speaking against? Sure. I will get this on the table. Is somebody happy to move this committee and executive recommendation? Councillor Steele, or is there a seconder? Councillor Kozisek, sure. Councillor Steele, reserve. Councillor Kozisek. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. I strongly believe that the ICT allowance that we already receive is more than enough for a new laptop, mobile phone and any other devices that we need, and also enough to cover costs of mobile phones and that. When I first became a councillor, I bought a really nice MacBook out of the allowance. I've still got it 5 years later and it hasn't missed a beat. But should it not work tomorrow, I can go and buy another one, which I would have had to do whether I was on council or not. Same as a mobile phone. I've just bought a new phone last year out of the allowance, but I would have had to have buy that anyway. By now having also the City of Bunbury supply a computer or iPad for us, I don't really see why we would require that. Yeah, I think the allowance is more than enough, so I'll be voting against 10.13. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 4. Clarify. I asked a question, Councillor Steele. Just stand, thanks, Councillor Steele.
Oh, sorry. Just to clarify and a question, so it's sort of a question.
Sure.
You don't have to take up that, the offer of, the option is there. I just want to clarify that's the case, isn't it?
Yeah, the wording was adopted to include you can opt out of that city device. Not through debate, Councillor Turner. Is there a speaker for this? Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm for this. I intend to buy my own. In fact, my computer's got a bit of life in it at the moment. But I had a chat with one of the other councillors and I'm thinking, what about councillors in the future? So they need to have the flexibility to be able to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker against the executive recommendation, executive and committee recommendation, I should say. Councillor Brown.
Thank you. I'm of the opinion that IT should be provided by the council itself, in that in this modern age we have a lot of malware, spam software, virus protection that's required. I don't think we should leave it up to elected members to put those on their machines, and I really think that it should be guided by the administration staff that are basically experts in IT. So yes, I'll be voting against that recommendation.
Speaker 4. Councillor Kozisek, you reserved your right earlier, yes?
Yeah, I'm confused by Councillor Brown's comments, sorry. I personally won't be using this, but I think the option is there for somebody that comes onto council that, you know, if you spend a bit of money getting elected, by the time you need to buy a computer or whatever, you may not have the funds. I think the option of having a computer there that belongs to the city but has all the city's protective malware, etc. on it is a really good option for anybody. So I just think it's an option that's there. If you don't want to take it up, you don't have to. But I think having that option there for somebody that needed it at the time is a really good thing to do. Thank you.
Is there a speaker against? Councillor Steele.
I just want to wrap up as well and just clarify with what Councillor Kozisek said as well, and that's why I'm a bit also confused with what Councillor Brown said, because with this laptop that you can get provided by the city, does only have to be used from the city for council things, then you can have your own personal one, so that then does stop the chances of malware and stuff going in. So this would be a separate computer that you could use for council purposes only, or you don't have to take up the option at all.
Thank you. I'll put the committee executive recommendation. Those in favour, please indicate. Those against? That's lost. That's carried, sorry. That is carried and is the motion. Apologies. 5 votes to 4. Item 10.14. Now, councillors, this had a committee and executive recommendation on that. CEO, did you want to give any update on this? Was this the one you...
Yeah, I might get the Manager of Governance, Mary, to answer that question. Yep.
Thanks, CEO. The only reason this has come up in this form is originally to the Policy Committee, the executive recommendation was as written there, and the Policy Committee resolved to add the point 2 that's there as the committee recommendation. So I don't want to speak for the CEO, but I don't think he's got any issues with point 2 being in there either.
Sure. So councillors, obviously we do have an exec and committee. Is somebody happy to move either of those? Councillor Andrew? Councillor Andrew?
The committee make a recommendation, thank you.
Is that the same? Thank you, Councillor Steele. That's seconded. Is there likely to be any debate on this, councillors? If that's the case, I'll put the committee recommendation. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. 10.4.1. Thank you, Councillor Andrew. Do we have a mover for the executive recommendation? Councillor Smith? Seconder? Councillor Moran? Is there likely to be any debate on this one, councillors? If that's the case, I'll put it. Those in favour, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ransom. The attachments are. Yeah. Yeah, so councillors, the attachments to this are confidential, but the report itself is not with those figures, so only the attachment has the actual evaluation process. So number 1 does require an absolute majority, that's why this has come out for voting. Is somebody happy to move the recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Quain. Is there a seconder? Councillor Kozisek, thank you. Is there likely to be any debate on this item, councillors? Thank you. If that's the case, I'll put that. Those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. I do believe, not quite yet, a couple of applications for leave of absence, one for myself between the 31st of March and 11th of April. Is somebody happy to move that? Not all once. Thank you, Councillor Kozisek. Second by Councillor Andrew. I'll put that. Those in favour? Thank you. Secondly was Councillor Quain from the 4th of April to the 26th of April. Somebody happy to move that? Thank you, Councillor Andrew. Second by Councillor Smith. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. And I believe we have, yes, there it is, from Councillor Steck for today. Somebody happy to move that? Councillor Andrew. Somebody happy to second that? Councillor Ramesh. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. Councillors, that does bring us to a close. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you.